the Keto lemon cheesecake bites. Made these last week. They were a hit and I wanted to share with you guys. I would just say that even though these are keto, anybody that has a sweet tooth is going to love this recipe. I highly recommend it. So what I'm going to do is just get started, and I will give the measurements for each step as we go through. Now the first thing we're going to do is make the crust. This is going to be baked in an 8x8 baking dish. So prepare that with some parchment paper. That's an absolute, you have to have the parchment paper to get this out easily. And that's going to bake at 350 for about 12 to 15 minutes. But to make the crust itself, you need 1 cup of almond flour. So we're going to get that in the bowl. And then there are 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Let's get that measured. Oh, I forgot my knife. I tried to get everything ready so you guys wouldn't have to wait for me to fumble around and find everything. So 1 teaspoon of baking powder goes into that. 1/4 cup of low-carb sugar, sweetener. That would either be the stevia. The brand I recommend is Swerve, and you can find that on Amazon along with the almond flour. If you're not too sure where to find these, check my affiliate link below and those will be in there. So what I do is just mix the dry ingredients up first because you want to get the baking powder distributed evenly. And then it calls for 2 large eggs. Now, where we get our eggs, which are British free range, sometimes you get a double yolk. Yay! So this is not 3 eggs, it's 2 eggs. We just, we had a little bonus. So now you're just going to mix that up really well. And then we'll spread that in the pan and bake that, and that's going to be the base to the cheesecake, and it is just such a nice recipe. So nutrition information, if you are on keto, this is going to make 16 cheesecake bites. If you've got great willpower, you'll get 16 servings out of it. Paula and I haven't been successful in that just yet. But for 16 bites, the total net carbs are 4. So if you are on keto, you know that that is very low for you to have. Sorry about that. I know you don't want to hear that scraping. To get that sweet tooth satisfied, I just can't recommend this enough. It is just amazing. I've got a few other recipes I might, depending on the response to this one, I might share that are keto as well for sweet. So now we're just going to spread that evenly. This will not form a hard, crunchy crust like a biscuit. This is more of a cake crust, and it is just so nice. Okay, guys, at this point, you're going to want to bake that at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 12 to 15 minutes. Just keep an eye on it, and then if you want to, you can test it with a toothpick. If it comes out clean in the center, it is done. Okay guys, we are going to make the filling for the cheesecake. I've baked the crust, I've brought it out, it's just above here cooling so that we can get on with our filling. So what you're going to need is 16 ounces of full fat cream cheese softened. I recommend a name brand. I don't know what the copyright problems would be on YouTube, so this is why I went ahead and done it so that I'm not showing any branding, because I don't know if that would be an issue or not. 16 ounces full-fat cream cheese, a 1/4 cup of your Swerve or stevia, some low-carb sweetener, 2 large eggs, 3 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice, and then you want a tablespoon of lemon zest. Make sure that your lemons they're unwaxed, and then I always clean mine really good with white vinegar before I zest them. So I didn't do this prior, so I'm sorry. This will take just a little bit of time to do this. Now what I want to say about this recipe is you can tweak this if you find that it's not sweet enough for you. I do not like overly sweet desserts, and what I absolutely love about this, it's got some tartness to it, which I love as a dessert. After dinner, I prefer lemon desserts because it cleanses your palate, and this is such a light, refreshing dessert for the summer coming up. If you're not worried about keto, the other thing you could do with this is a fresh raspberry coulis, but I'm not going to do it because this is keeping it keto, and that doesn't work if you're doing that. And then also fresh raspberries, strawberries over it. Oh, just honestly, it's delicious. Okay guys, there we go. So you can use a handheld mixer. I'm not going to, but mix it up really good for about a minute with a handheld mixer, just to combine all that really well. And yeah, you can see it's a little bit runny at first, but it will all start to come together. Okay, that's mixed up really well, so let me sit that over. There's our crust, and just so you know, this, because it's the almond flour, you're not going to find that it browns a lot, but that's fine as long as you test it and make sure that it is completely done in the middle. Then you're good to go. Don't judge it based on color is what I'm trying to say. And you're just going to pour that filling over your crust. Okay, there we go, guys. And now this is going to go back into the oven at 350 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes, or until it sets. Now, before you pull it out, it will probably jiggle slightly. Just, again, test it with a toothpick to know if it's completely done. And then the last step, guys, is the lemon curd. So, on to the oven. Okay, guys, we are now on to the lemon curd. And for this, you are going to want a 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice, 1/4 cup of the low-carb sweetener, and 3 egg yolks, plus a tablespoon of lemon zest. And you're going to heat this over a medium heat until this thickens, and you will see as this goes along what I'm talking about. So let me just give that a little stir, and I'll add a bit more of the lemon zest. The most important part of this step is that you keep that stirring and do not let that go to a boil, because if you do, you risk the egg becoming scrambled, and you don't want that. You can also make lemon curd over a double boiler, which is probably the most recommended way to do this. But we're not going to do that here. But if you've never made lemon curd before, I would probably recommend you start off with a double boiler. That way you're absolutely certain you're not going to get that too hot. It will take longer, but it's better than risking not doing it properly. And for time purposes, I may have to stop the video and come back just if this is going to take too long. I don't want you sitting here for 8 minutes watching me heat this up. After which time this becomes thick, you're going to then add 4 tablespoons of butter. But do not do that until it's come off of the heat. And then that is going to make the most amazing lemon curd. And you don't even have to feel guilty about it. This is the beautiful thing about this recipe. You can eat it and not feel a bit guilty. I should have chosen a different pan. This pan has got a texture on the bottom, and that's what's making that sound. I should have used my stainless steel. I thought this would be better for the demonstration, and this is an induction stovetop. I absolutely hate it, guys. If you are considering, I mean, this was what was in when we got the house. But if you're considering going over to it, honestly, I would tell you no. I hate it. In the middle of meals, if something spills over while you're cooking, it will shut itself off. I can't tell you how many meals have just been, well, they haven't been ruined, but it gets quite stressful if you're doing a Christmas meal and you think you've got the timing right on everything, and then you come in and realize, oh wow, how long has the stovetop been off for? I hate it. We had considered changing it, but we're not going to. We're just going to go ahead and keep it because we know that this is, a temporary accommodation for us. We've got to get more rural than what we are. So yes, as you can see, I'm just filling time with chatter at this moment. You can totally mute me if you choose to do so. I'll understand. Yeah, that's beginning to thicken. I can already feel it. Okay guys, that has come out of the oven. I've just let it set for a few minutes just to cool down slightly, and then you want to take your warm lemon curd and just start to drizzle that. One second. start to drizzle that over the cheesecake. Ah, beautiful. Okay, guys, that's it. That's going to go into the oven. Into the refrigerator, and I'm going to let that sit overnight. And that is all there is to it. So very quickly, I thought I'll just do, I'm not going to write this in the description box below, but just a recap. For the crust, you've got a cup of almond flour, 2 large eggs, 1/4 cup sweetener, teaspoon baking powder. Going to bake that at 350 for 12 to 15 minutes. Let it cool for 5 minutes. In the meantime, you can do your filling, which is 16 ounces of full-fat cream cheese, which is softened, 1/4 cup low-carb sweetener, 2 eggs, 3 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice, a tablespoon of lemon zest. Pour it over the crust and bake for 35 or 40 minutes until set. The lemon curd is a 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons fresh lemon juice, tablespoon lemon zest, 1/4 cup of the low-carb sweetener, 3 egg yolks. You put that in a saucepan over medium heat until it's thick, and then you are going to add the 4 tablespoons of butter and chill for at least 4 hours. Enjoy, everybody. Thanks so much for stopping by. I'm anxious to hear what you guys think about it.